GOCC UK.
Exclusive interview. This is the raw cast on the streets.
Raw truth. Raw truth. Raw truth. Raw truth. Raw truth.
All right, everybody, shalom, shalom. Welcome to another broadcast of the Raw Truth, aka Rawcast. All right, another interesting broadcast we're gonna be running here this evening. We're not in the normal studio settings. I know you know the part two. We had a live audience. We actually sat down in a restaurant, or a place of food, and to put it, yeah. And we sat down here having a discussion, and it's very interesting for the people who I have here. We're gonna be talking to. All right. But before I give too much away, I just want to say all praises to the Most High in the name of Yeshaya. Thanks, giving all praises for another opportunity to do this, to do the work, to bring some information to the people. All right. We're gonna break this down in segments. We might definitely have to go do a part two of this broadcast because of what we're gonna bring. Now, I don't know if you remember everybody, but we were suspended from Peace FM. About when was it? No, at the end of October. For a broadcast that we did with a Jewish man, all right. So, when we released the video, you'll see there was another brother inside of the studio who was a ex-Muslim, and we had him in the studio as well. He never said much, but he stayed for the entire discussion, all right. And we're actually gonna speak with him today, all right. And also with another brother called Yasser, which is also another ex-Muslim convert. And we're gonna speak to them with some information that they have regarding Islam coming forward. I know Brother Yasser saw the Imam Bashir debate with Elder Gabar in New York. Actually phoned me up. When was it? Yesterday you called me up speaking about that. Now check this out. What was so funny about this meeting that we decided to do? We're gonna meet in town in a cafe and do the interview. Now, on arriving at the cafe in the town center, we run into the brother who was the Jewish brother who was on Nathan, who was on Peace FM the night when we got suspended. Right outside having a cup of tea when we showed up. You with me? We have a bit of video clip of him as well going off his head as he did on Peace FM, and we're gonna put that up as well. All right. So this show is supposed to be a very interesting discussion. I got two very interesting guests with me here that can bring forth a lot of information regarding Islam. Some of it you're gonna have to go back, write it down, maybe stop the broadcast, stop the show, go back and listen to it, and then to get the information. But hopefully we should have a very good, very productive evening with the brothers. All right. So first, brothers, welcome to the Raw Truth, aka Rawcast. All right. I know it's different from the Peace FM studio that was in the last time, but the equipment work and we're doing it live outside. All right.
Thank you for the welcome and shalom to everyone.
Shalom. All right. And if you don't mind, just go ahead and tell the listeners who you are.
Yeah, my name is Sami and I'm ex-Muslim, from Pakistani background.
Okay. All right. You want us hand the mic over to Yasser, mate? Yasser, give us an introduction.
Yeah, shalom, peace to all the families out there. We're all one people, and we need to remember that first and foremost. I'm an ex-Muslim. My name's Yasser, and I'm in search of the truth. And I'm trying to read all scriptures and edify my mind. And today, hopefully, we're going to help the people to decide for themselves.
All right. Okay, everybody. So you heard it here. We have packed up show tonight. All right. So let me go straight to you, Sammy. Right, bringing it up because the last time we spoke, you brought some information out that regarding the Quran and its authenticity, and the origins of Islam. Being you that one was born into this religion, you came to some knowledge, by reading the Quran, actually finding Christ and so on. You care to just, tell the listeners about that for me?
Yeah, basically from the Muslim sources, we come to know that how Quran was compiled, and we come to know that the early sources tell us that Quran was, first of all, Muhammad himself, he was, as we read the Quran, Surah 157, it says that Muhammad couldn't able to read and write, and he was completely uneducated man, and if he couldn't write it, obviously he had to find somebody who can write it down, and then it's like because it's one of the sources it says that is like Muhammad's ability or like his memory was now very good, and there is a couple of ahadiths regarding about that, which says that Muhammad lost or forgot his own Quran, and when somebody was reciting that, and he said, well, Allah bestow his mercy because he reminded me of such and such verses. So basically from there we can come to know that Muhammad's memory was not very good. If his memory was not good, and then how he can remember every single surah and verse from where they can read and write it down.
So hold on, let's just stop there. So you say Muhammad himself had to ask somebody to recite the Quran for him, or remind him of what was written in the Quran.
Yeah, actually there is what's it called, there is a hadith regarding about this, so people, those who are listening, so they can understand and verify it. I'm trying to dig out that hadith which says that Muhammad himself was not able to what's it called read and write, and his memory was very short.
Right.
And at the time of Muhammad, as we know, that Muhammad never write it down, and he never compiled any Quran.
Right.
And there is a narration, I read the ahadith, is from the Sahih, means authentic, and it's from the Bukhari. It's hadith number 558, and it's a narration from Aisha that Allah's apostle heard a man reciting the Quran at night and said, may Allah bestow his mercy on him, as he has reminded me of such and such verses of such and such surahs, which I was caused to forget. Now there is a same thing, which is another hadith, which is a Bukhari again, and is number 562, and it's again narration from Aisha. The Prophet heard a man reciting the Quran in the mosque one night. The Prophet said, may Allah bestow his mercy on him, as he has reminded me of such and such verses of such and such surahs, which I was caused to forget.
Sorry.
Which I was caused. So it's Muhammad himself is the source which God has provided it. And according to the Muslim sources, the angel was Gabriel, so-called Gabriel, So basically it's like the angel was coming down and teaching him everything in the cave,
Right.
And obviously he was, as the sources said, that he was not able to read and write,
Right.
So obviously he has to hire someone who can read and write, and who can write all these things on the piece of paper,
Right.
And when we recheck the sources, we come to know that Muhammad has a very short memory, and he was keep on forgetting all these verses, and then obviously we don't know what was the source which he was using it to tell it to the people that so they can write it down.
Sorry, then. All right. Hold that there, all right? Hold that. And just for the reference, give me Sahih Bukhari. What's the numbers?
Is the number is Sahih Bukhari. Sahih means authentic, which is verified, and it's narrated by Aisha, and this is from the what's is called, the number is 558 and 55. Let me check this again. Volume 6. Bukhari, volume 6, and number is 562. One is 558, one is 562.
And as we go on with this broadcast, I'm gonna when you bring something out, I'll ask you for the references, just so that the listeners them can then go.
Yeah,
back.
obviously, what we are talking here about.
Yes.
Is we are talking with a full reference,
Exactly.
full background from the Muslim sources. We
Exactly.
are not making anything from ourselves. Even
Exactly.
the listeners wants to check it.
Yes.
They can, by all means, they can check
Yes.
it.
So going from here, so then, right?
Yeah.
Saying that, okay, obviously then Muhammad did not write the Quran.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that's a given then.
Mm-hmm.
So where did the Quran come from? What's its origin? Who wrote it? Where is it?
Well, that's a very interesting question. Well, now we come to know that how Quran was compiled and how the Quran came into the existence is basically at the war of Yamama. When there was a war at Yamama, and the Abu Bakr came to Umar and he said, we need to compile the Quran, and he said, why you think so? And he said, because of the heavy casualty, the people are dying over there, and those who have been recited the Quran, we need to collect it and we need to pile it up, we need to compile it, And he said, it's a very interesting thing, what he said it. And he said, how you can do something which Allah's apostle did not do it. The Umar replied it in return of that to Abu Bakr, that how you can do that when Allah's apostle cannot do himself, you cannot do it that, So, but they have, they have little chart about it, how we need to compile it, and then obviously they compile it. And then they have, at the time of Abu Bakr in the war of Yamama, they have, the verses called the people, those who have recited it, and whatever they find it, and those who have been reciting it, they found them, and then they asked them to give us all these verses of the Quran, and then from there they compile the Quran.
So Abu Bakr, give me a time period on Abu Bakr. When was he? What was
Abu Bakr was the first Khalifa after Muhammad,
After Muhammad.
Yeah, remember that the little Aisha.
Right.
Yeah, no, one of the wives of
Yes.
Muhammad, who was married. Muhammad write on a marriage contract with Aisha at the age of 6, and he consummated that marriage at the age of 9, when she was still very young,
Wow.
And that he was called the Aisha's dad.
Right.
Was known as Abu Bakr, and he was the first Khalifa after the death of Muhammad.
Right. So he was the next man in charge after Muhammad.
Exactly.
Right. So he said no, because the people who recited the Quran were dying. He said that it was a need to be written down.
Written down,
Right. So
yeah.
so these people never weren't writing it from anything. They were actually reciting something, then, so to speak.
Well, I mean, obviously they were before that. It was people, those who have memorized it,
Right.
and they collected it from them, But then there is another problem that people, those who have memorized it, actually they were dying in the war of Yamama.
Right.
And there is another hadith which says that what's it called, when they try to find out from them, and much of the Quran they've either forget it, as we know that the memory of Muhammad was very limited, and either they have verses called they were died in that war, and then much of them was lost at that time,
Right. So Abu Bakr, then, so going back to the question, Abu Bakr commissioned these men then to start writing down the Quran, writing down what they believe, what their version of it was, then, so to speak.
Yeah, Abu Bakr actually said it to them, so to recite it.
Right.
And whatever they were reciting it, to put everything in the writing,
So we're talking
and to compile it.
so
and Ubay bin Ka'b was the best of the recitation of, according to Muhammad.
According to Muhammad, who?
Ubay bin Ka'b was best of the recitation.
Right.
And Muhammad once himself said it, that if somebody wants to learn Quran,
Yes.
he has to learn it from Ubay bin Ka'b.
Right.
But whatever the Ubay bin Ka'b was reciting it, actually, was called, they never put everything in that Quran,
Right. Whatever what's it called?
Ubay bin Ka'b.
Ubay bin Ka'b.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever he recited, that's not what Abu Bakr put down. So Muhammad's best reciter was Abin Ka'b.
Ubay bin Ka'b.
Ubay bin Ka'b. But
whatever he was reciting, they never put everything in the Quran, There is what's it called? I read that hadith to you. Even Umar said, Ubay was the best of us in the recitation of the Quran, yet we leave some of what he was reciting.
Yes, we leave it.
We leave it.
We leave it. Okay.
Yeah. So, and it's basically, it's like hadith number is 526 and 523, if somebody wants to check it.
Okay. Now,
I repeat these numbers again, if might be somebody wants to check it. It's the reference up till now what we have given is hadith is from Sahih Bukhari, volume 6, and the numbers are 523 526, 527, 558, and 562.
Right. Okay. So go on.
Just to ask something on a point you made before. You know when he said he married the wife which was 9 years old? How old was Muhammad at this point?
Yeah, he was 54 years old.
He was 54, right,
Yeah.
okay.
According to the Muslim sources and hadiths tell us that Muhammad was at that time was 54 years of age.
Okay. Now, the when we spoke the last time, there was some mention of that when Muhammad died, when at his funeral. A lot of what was written on leaves, right? And goats actually came and ate up what was written. Where do we find this from?
This is again from the Muslim sources, and again it's like what's it called? Your question is regarding about the sources which where they have write it down, So actually, the early sources tell us that all this Quran is been written on stones,
Right.
bones, and on the scapula of a camel, and then it's like what's it called? Leaves. Sorry. No, it's date palms, and basically it's like leaves, That's what I said,
Yeah, leaves.
It's leaves, So basically it's like and now we are living in 21st century, and I still got amazed. This is very amazing that they have been in that century, in the 6th or 5th century, they were writing down on the bones, So how they were writing on the bones, I really couldn't get it. You can engrave on the bones, That's a different thing, But writing on the bones, writing on the piece of leaves, writing down on the scapula of a camel, writing down on the stones, I don't know how they were writing down, That's the biggest question to me.
Said that they knew it by heart.
Well, they memorize it. Yeah, they memorize it, yeah.
What would be the need to arise to copy onto date palms?
So you're asking the question that
bones.
if you're memorizing it, why are you copying it down on date palm?
Yeah, I mean,
So-
if we go back to the hadith that the brother just related about the Battle of Yamama,
right.
there was a lot of hufas of the Quran that were slaughtered in the battle.
Right.
And the hadith, as it states, is indicating that the thought was that let's compile a book together so that we've got the words of the Quran, because if more hufas are killed, we'll end up losing lots of the Quran.
Right.
So, there's verses that are missing. And going back to the point that you're making with regards to the goat came and ate the verses,
Right.
that there's a hadith in the authentic Sahih Bukhari again. I haven't got the actual reference for it, but it's definitely in there. And that alludes to the fact that a goat came and ate from under the bed.
Yes.
Some of the verses of the Surah of Ar-Rajm,
I think
which is the stoning verse.
I think.
It's a Sunnah Ibn Majah.
Go on. Let's get into the mic.
What you have quoted is the reference is Sunnah Ibn Majah, Book of Nikah, Ahadith 1934 to 1944. It's basically saying, it's a narration from Aisha again. The verse of the stoning and of the breastfeeding an adult 10 times revealed, and the paper was with me under my pillow. When the messenger of Allah died, we were preoccupied with his death, and a tame sheep. Tame sheep means goat. Goat came in and ate it. That brings Quran from 40 chapters to 30. Because this verses, surahs, they've been revealed it in 10 times of rajam. Rajam means like stoning.
Right.
Stoning and adult feeding, feeding,
Right.
feeding to adult person, I don't know how they do it, but it's basically, it's like that was like 10 of the surahs, and there was like now the Quran comes from 40 chapters to 30. I mean,
So
10
10
chapters.
10 stoning chapters get removed.
10 chapters it's not been removed, but
Well,
it's been eaten by a tame sheep goat, So, well, how it is,
Right. And for listeners who just tuning in, I might be catching this broadcast midway. You are tuned to the Raw Truth doing the Raw cast, all right? And do we have a problem with religions of the earth? Of course we do, because there's a lot of lies being told, and we see a lot of people caught up in these lies, and people will actually come and try to attack the Bible and attack the scriptures and have no idea on the origins of the madness that they are dealing with. You with me? And this is one of the reasons why we're bringing this right now, to bring this information out to the people, so you can actually go and research it and reference it for yourself and have that in your armory when people come to you and try to discredit the Bible or say the Bible is plagiarism. And we're going to go into some of that as well, all right? Now, yes, when I was speaking to you yesterday, you're making some reference, man, and probably some of you will be able to back this up as well. When Muhammad told the people it was okay for them to go and worship the three daughters of Allah. You with me?
Yeah.
Just off the top of my head, it's skipping me right now. But Al. There you go. Just say that for me again, please.
Allat, Al-Uzza,
right?
wa Manat.
So here's Muhammad telling them it's okay to go and worship these three idols
As intercessors to God, yeah.
as intercessors to God. Now, how and that's actually written in the Quran. Now, how does one pass that off?
Yeah, I just want to remind the listeners that it is the raw truth, and sometimes the rawness can hurt the people. So don't be offended. We're not out here to offend any Muslims, any Christians, whatever your religion. We're just here for the truth and to critically analyze and look at it and then decide for yourself, like I said earlier. So just want to remind all the listeners. So just going back to your point, Gaja, the intercession of the goddesses is not actually written in the Quran.
Right.
This incident, according to the Islamic history, occurred during the time of the Prophet of Islam.
Right.
Yeah. And later it was abrogated from the Quran.
Right.
So it was taken out of the Quran. Now,
but hold up, stop you right there. But you actually find the names of these goddesses in the Quran.
yeah, for sure. Surah Al-Najm is where it's mentioned.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. It is written in the Quran. These goddesses.
Yeah, the ayah 21 on Surah Al-Najm,
Yes.
which is 53 surah.
Right.
It's mentioned there.
Right.
And this is the controversial satanic verses issue.
Right.
That, the Prophet of Islam was influenced by Satan to utter these words during the course of a prayer, which was in Mecca with the Quraysh tribe.
Right.
And this is one of the questions that, I'd like to pose to all the listeners, and especially if there's any Muslim scholars, imams, mullahs, any learned people amongst the Muslim ummah who may be listening for the raw truth, just to come forward to us, contact us in some way and answer this question. One of the first points that I would like to make is the Prophet of Islam was sent, according to Islamic doctrine, to do away with all polytheism.
Mm-hmm.
So there should be no polytheism. There is only one God, and that's who is to be worshipped, full stop. And this was the whole acclaimed mission of the Prophet. Now, if we find in the Islamic sources or the references that the Prophet of Islam has partaken in some form of idolatry or polytheism, we need to think carefully, because we're talking about the afterlife, which is forever, according to all scriptures that we are conferring with. Yes, salvation. And so this is a question that, needs to be asked, that did this incident occur? And how was Satan able to put onto the tongue of the Prophet of Islam these verses where he alluded to that the three goddesses can be used as intercessors for Allah, and how it's possible that the Prophet of Islam didn't recognize whether this was Jibreel speaking to him or Satan speaking to him when this was said. And if the prostration has occurred, then that is classed as shirk in Islam.
which is idolatry.
which is polytheism, and which is
Polytheism.
many surahs of the Quran alludes to
Sorry.
this. That do not do this, Muhammad. You need to tell the people this.
Don't do that.
Don't do this.
So let me bring this on to Sammy now. What's your take on this, Sammy?
Is regarding about this Quran Surah 53
Yes.
verse. Basically, it's like what Brother Yasser has said is fine, because it's what he was actually at one point he said it to the people that worship them. Then afterwards he said it's not, don't worship them, and he said the Satan has put in into his mind,
Right.
So if Satan can put in his mind,
Mind.
and that can be put into the Quran, then it's like these
What else?
to worship Alalat, Alus, Alamanati,
Right.
So how we come to know that what about the rest of those verses and the surahs, how
Exactly.
authentic they are,
Exactly.
So is
Go on. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. The other question related to that is one of the surahs in the Quran, Surah Al-Hijr, which is a 15th surah.
Right.
There's an account in there which basically Allah is speaking with Satan, and Satan is asking for respite until the Day of Judgment,
Right.
so that he can mislead as many people as possible.
Right.
And along this conversation, Satan himself says to Allah that only the people who are your true worshippers will I not be able to overcome.
Right.
So Satan is confessing himself
Right.
that I'm limited in my capabilities and I won't be able to influence the true
True.
pious believers of Allah.
Right.
And anybody else,
That means I
I
can
can overcome them. I
Right.
can mislead them,
Okay.
misguide them. So the question being,
How is it
that
then
if Muhammad is the true
Prophet.
apostle of Allah and the true messenger of Allah,
That's a good point.
how is Iblis able to put these words in the Prophet's mouth?
That's a very. That's a very. That's
That's some
that's
deep
a real-
thinking that
that's a-
people need to think. And like I say, if there's any ulama
Yeah.
or imams,
Yes.
scholars of Islam who can answer this question, I'd gladly like to hear from you, and so would we at Raw Truth here.
Well, if you remember the last, it wasn't a Raw True broadcast, but we had an interview on Mark Mackenzie's show with the Heart of the Matter with an imam who said that he would come back anytime, any place, and we have yet to see him.
Yeah.
Some of these questions were asked to him. So, is it that they can't answer these questions in Islam, or is it that they just overlook these points?
basically it's like I don't think they have got any sources apart. I mean, whatever the sources is what we are quoting here,
Right.
that if Muhammad is, and the brother Yasser has already said that if he is inspired by God, and is then obviously he has to speak the God's language, but unfortunately here Quran and Muhammad is not talking about the God's language, and they is clearly saying that these words are being put into my mouth by the Satan,
Right. So,
So if these are the words which has been put, and we know Muhammad has been possessed by the demons, Muhammad has been the magic worked on him, and when people ask him what type of magic he has and how it happened, and they said it happened with the comb, the comb which they brush it with the hair, So it's basically it's like these type of works. Magic work is working on Muhammad and magic and the demons. He's demon possessed, and
Satan
at one point, he tried to suicide himself. When the revelation, nearly it was 2 years when the revelation stops after the Noah bin work. He died. So Waraka bin Nawfal,
What's
Waraka bin-
where can we reference that to?
Yeah, this reference I'll dig it out. Yeah, it's Sirat Rasulullah, and then it's like Ibn Kathir as well,
Go ahead. What?
Yeah.
Just if you know it by heart, just
Well, the reference would be Ibn Ishaq, Sirat Rasulullah, which is a classical history of Islam
right. And it's called
and the Quraysh tribe, and it kind of describes and breaks down a lot of things. That's one of the things I want to put out also is what I found over my search for truth is that a lot of people are just so-called Muslims and so-called Christians and so-called Hindus, but they don't know the scripture really. They don't read for themselves. And as the scriptures say, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, yeah?
100%.
And, that's the case that we see today. And, on the quest for truth, certain things that you come across, you can see where the history lies with that. And then you have to reference that with the biblical history as well. Because, I mean, we could talk about violence in the Quran, but yes, there is violence in the Old Testament as well, and we're aware of that. So, there's certain things that I'm looking for to find that what is showing the truth. And the teachings of Christ, for me, have resonated with me and sat right and shown me that that is the way forward for mankind if we're to live together and be united as a people.
Well, one of the questions I asked, right, or one of the questions my elder proposed to some Muslim was that, okay, what good has come to the earth since the advent of Islam, since Islam came on the scene? Give us one good. What good has come from Islam? It was a resonating silence. It went quiet. No one could answer the question on that. And you're right. If mankind go back to the law, statutes, and commandments within the Bible that's written down, this world would be a better place. This world would change literally overnight, because it tells you in Exodus 31, and I think it's verse 18. Correct me if I'm wrong. Where it actually, let's go get that, right? The commandments. Let me just make sure I got it right here. Exodus 31. I think it's 18, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's the one. Go ahead, Ak. Read that for me.
You want me to start at 18?
Yes, sir.
The book of Exodus, chapter 31 and 18. And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of the Most High.
So the commandments are written with the finger of the Most High. It is flawless. You understand me? It is perfect. There is no, you understand me? There is no camel bone, man carving, nothing on. There is no leaf. The commandments was written on with the finger of God. So it is perfect. If mankind came back to that, you understand me? We would not have all these problems that we have in the earth to this day. You understand me?
That's right.
And Islam is a product of people looking to form them own thing, instead of conforming to what was already there. You understand me? This, when you go into, and when you look at what's written here, a lot of what's written, you can find it already written that predates it from the Hebrew scriptures. Christ tell you that, all the prophets prophesied till John. You understand me? Why do we need another prophet? When we look at what the Messiah did, there's no, who else can come after him to do anything else better? Mm-hmm. You with me, or doing it? You understand me? So all of this is leading people to hell. And that's why even Christ tell you that, in the end, a lot of people gonna come and say, Lord, Lord, have we not done things in your name? And he's not like, no, move, you workers of iniquity, to make you know that this earth, the devil has deceived this world. Get me that out of Revelation, please. Revelation 12 and 9. All right, the devil has deceived this world. People are deceived, and this is why we have to bring the truth out. And one of the fastest growing religions in the earth is what?
Is Islam at the moment.
Exactly. Islam is the fastest growing religion on the planet.
But the recent surveys say that Islam is not basically is not the growing religion.
What is it?
It's the Christianity.
Right, and Christianity.
Christianity is growing in the third world countries, especially in Bangladesh, Pakistan, China, and India.
Right.
And it's like because of the there is a certain laws in Islamic states which is called apostasy and the blasphemy laws.
That's if you convert to Christianity. Then.
If you convert to the Christianity or to any other religion, you have to face the death penalty. And if you are apostate, another. Or if you say anything regarding about against the Islam or about the Muhammad, or about the Quran, then again you have to face the penalty of the death,
Check it out. The last time I checked, right?
Yeah.
Islam was one of the fastest growing religions on the earth. Hold up. It's the newest religion on the earth and one of the fastest growing. But even Islam and Christianity, right? even Christianity with the Catholicism that comes with Christianity, even that's off as well. So when you look at, basically Islam is Christianity for the Arabs. You understand me? It's the same. It's the same religion. It's really, when you break it down, dealing with idolatry. You understand me? So people right across the earth, let me rephrase it then. People across the earth are being converted into madness, be it i.e. Christianity that don't deal with Christ, the true Christ of the Bible, or Islam that is something new that came up of the bones of camels. You understand me? So either which way, if people come back not to a religion, Christianity, but come back to what the Bible states, what the Bible has done, what the Bible lays down for us to follow, right? Baptism for the remission of sins, accepting the Messiah, keeping the laws, walking in the Spirit, which Paul breaks down for you in Galatians, the 5th chapter, as keeping the laws. If mankind goes back to that, you understand me? We will not see this nonsense. But
Exactly.
let me not come off too much off of the topic. I
Yeah,
want to
just
keep it-
while you're on that
Go on.
topic, Gaja, I mean, with regards to the laws and the statutes and commandments,
Go ahead.
this is exactly what Islam is claiming as well, that we have the laws, the statutes, commandments. But the thing that we need to look at is Christ did say,
Yeah.
you will know them by their fruits.
Yeah.
And if you look at the fruits of Islam, when I was in Islam, the so-called Islam that I
Yeah.
was in, I wouldn't say I was a fully practicing Muslim.
Right.
No doubt about that. But the things that we see around the world, alluding back to what I said before about people not knowing their own religion,
Right.
what we see is the fruits are not there. Islam is not super tight. If this was the last revelation and the overruling abrogation of all other biblical texts, we would have had the guidance there and people easily following it. But there's different sects in Islam,
Well-
as there are in Christianity as well.
Well, here's the thing with that, right? Here's the thing why I would even look at that to say then judge whether Islam is right or wrong or following the laws or not. Because even when the Messiah walked the earth, right? When Christ walked the earth, not all Jews believed in him. Not all Jews were conforming to what they were doing.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be a benchmark for me to go, okay, well, if Islam was the way, right, it would be super tight and all. I wouldn't look at it like that. I wouldn't take it from the angle like this. When I look in the Bible, in the Torah that precedes it, right, and all the prophets that came with Torah and the Tanakh, which is the Old Testament, right, and what they did and the laws that they followed, and then compare, okay, what is Islam saying? For example, we wouldn't find nobody in Torah getting married to no 6-year-old girl and consummating at 9. We wouldn't see that. When you look into the dietary laws, we wouldn't see nobody there eating camel in the dietary laws. We wouldn't see anybody eating seafood like we see them doing it in Islam and saying it's okay. We wouldn't see the Sabbath day. The Sabbath day would never change. Friday sundown, Saturday sundown, that wouldn't change. Islam changed it to Thursday to Friday. You understand me? We wouldn't see all of these things. We wouldn't see. Not only that, according to the law that Moses dealt with, there were sacrifices. You with me? Sacrifices sin. There was a Levitical priesthood order that was there. That's written in the law. You understand me? That they had to keep. Islam don't keep that. So right away, we can without even going into the full workings and understanding of the Quran and all of these information that we're bringing out right now, because I'm bringing this out now for the people them to just have extra ammunition to tear down some of these lies when it come and to understand it more from two brothers who been in it, lived it. You understand me? More than some of our people. When I say our people, I mean the blacks, the Hispanics and the ghettos who coming up and converting into this. That when you go into our homes, if I was practicing Muslim for argument's sake, right, I wouldn't have nobody in my family who I could reference to for teachings in Islam. My mother would be a Christian, my father would be something else. You understand me? Unlike probably for your homes, your mother, father, uncle, auntie, cousin, niece, nephew, everybody is Muslim. You with me? So you brothers might have a more insight into the workings of this particular religion than somebody from one of our backgrounds around here. And I say anybody who looking at this thing with a pair of eyes can see that this don't have nothing to do with the what Moses dealt with what Abraham dealt with. It has nothing at all. And one of the questions as well, Sammy, that we had asked, you weren't there, but you were there on the broadcast that we did to the Imam, and we said to him, listen, which was the son that Abraham offered for sacrifice? And every Muslim, every one of them, every single one of them will tell you, Ishmael. Ishmael, off the bat. And then you say, all right, then, here's the Quran. Show me, please, where in the Quran it says Abraham went to sacrifice Ishmael.
Yeah, give the reference, give the dalil.
Give us some reference. And then, go ahead. You with me?
Yeah. Will you hold this mic?
You understand me?
Yeah.
Everyone will ask. Give us the reference, and then nobody can go into the Quran and pull it out.
Yeah. If we read the sources which a Muslim says is from the Quran is chapter 37.
Yeah.
And verse 100 to 103 or 102 normally the Muslim says that, and it's just thank you. It says, "My Lord, grant me a child from among the righteous." So we gave him good tidings of a forbearing boy, and when he reached with him the age of exertion, he said, "O my son, indeed I have seen in a dream that I must sacrifice you. So see what you think." He said, "O my father, do as you are commanded. You will find me, if Allah will of the steadfast." If Allah's will of the steadfast. So basically in these verses, when you never find any reference of the Ishmael or
Exactly.
the Ishmael name down there.
I know it doesn't say
And if you read, the Bible in the Genesis,
Ishmael the wild man.
Ishmael is the wild man,
Ishmael the
and he was grown up in a wilderness.
Yes.
And he was a archer, known as an archer.
yes.
And by name, the sacrifice is been named as Isaac
Yes.
in the Jewish scriptures,
Yes.
which is the Old Testament.
Yes.
And in the New Testament is two places down. One is in the Hebrews, chapter 17. I think it's chapter 17. Hebrew chapter, I think it's verse 17. So there it says that by faith,
Hebrews 11 you're
Abraham
referring to.
sacrificed Isaac,
Yes. Hebrews 11 you're referring to.
11, 17,
Yes.
yeah. So it's basically, it's like by name, it's been
Exactly.
there. And
Well-
one of the other...
This is a question I always ask Muslims. Where in the Quran does it say Ishmael? It doesn't. And then and I ask this question, in some way to provoke. I am provoking someone when I ask him this question, right? Because let's say, for example, let's say in the Quran, right? It did say Ishmael. Let's say it was written in the Quran. It is Ishmael, right? Then what they would have to show me then now, what a Muslim would then have to show me is, okay then, where in the Torah, right, does it say it went to sacrifice Ishmael? And then normally the response I'd get when I ask for anything regarding to the Torah is that the Torah is corrupted and the Torah is not the truth, right? So then the next question following that would have to be then, okay then, sir, can you give me your authentic Quran or your authentic Torah then, please? And no Muslim seems to have an authentic Torah that tells me that Ishmael was the son of sacrifice. So the question I have to ask again is that, where are you getting this from? Where did you get that from? It's not written in your Torah. It's not written in your Quran, excuse me, right? And we can't find it in the Torah anywhere. You understand? Now, according to your Quran, it tells you that you need to follow the books that came before.
Yeah.
The Quran.
Several places. Even Surah Al-Ma'idah 5:47, it says, "Let them judge what there has been revealed to them,
Right.
which is the Torah, Zabur, and the Injil.
Right.
And let them judge and let them do what is called the justice according to the scriptures." So if the scriptures were wrong at the time of Muhammad, and Quran was revealed to Muhammad, as we know that, so how can Muhammad refer it to those scriptures which are corrupted?
Exactly. That is my point.
Yeah.
So the whole basis on Islam, the whole basis on this is a lie, and we can break it down. You understand me? Easily. We can break this down. This Stevie Wonder can break this down. You don't take, you understand me? A blind man can see that this
obviously
is
everything is in
wrong.
black and white. If we read the scriptures, and then obviously every person who is have some kind of knowledge and have intellectual mind, he can read it, and he can read it through the scripture and find out that whatever the Muslims are saying is not there. But unfortunately, as the brother has said it before, that not too many Muslims bother to read their own scriptures. They love to argue, they love to fall into the arguments, but unfortunately they don't want to read their own scriptures. And if you tell them, it's like the Quran which I have, it clearly says, can you read it for me?
It says the Quran English meanings and notes by Sahih International.
Exactly. So this is the Quran which is given to me by the Dawah Center. So basically, when you show this Quran to the Muslims, they said, well, this is not authentic, and this has nothing to do with Islam. And many of them, they have accused me that you have made this copy.
You made
this copy, And I said, well, I got a lot of accusation regarding about that, when you show it to the my brothers Muslims, And when I show this copy to one of the imam, and it was the same time when they were sacrificing the lamb and having this,
Right.
And we get together at some places, and I asked them the same question: from where did you get this? The sacrifice of Ishmael, because it was not according to the Bible. I'm not saying according to the Bible. Even the Jewish scripture says that it's not Ishmael. It's the Isaac, and by name it is given by the Isaac. And one of the imam, he told me a very different story, very long one, and he said, well, it's because the Ishmael was the eldest one,
Right.
so that's why we believe. It's not. He never said it. That is written in the Quran.
He said we believe.
Or is their own assumption in it.
But that's the thing, though. I would accept that if you came to me and said, "Well, yo, listen, we just believe that." Then all right, I can't argue with that. I can't argue with you based on what you believe.
Yeah.
That's your belief. Good. That's good. But we need to establish that what you believe is not written anywhere.
That's what I'm saying. Having a believing faith is different thing. But if you are believing something, then obviously you have got some hard evidences.
Yes.
But when you see it, when you ask about the hard evidence,
Yes.
they give you these verses from Quran Surah 37, 100 to 102. And when you check these verses,
Yes.
you don't find the Ishmael name down there. And well, you can make stories whatever you like to do it, with that. But basically, it's like the sources which you are giving us is never ever or once been ever mentioned that is Ishmael's sacrifice was happening.
Well, check this out, son, and something just come to my mind here. You saying that, right? And what you're saying just about reading. Christ is actually mentioned more time in the Quran than Muhammad, isn't it?
Yeah, the Quran mentioned Muhammad 4 times. And Jesus has been mentioned 25 times. And Moses has been mentioned in the Quran say about 92 times, so above 90 times.
Right.
So I don't know the exact figure. And the Satan has been mentioned in the Quran about 90 times or 92 times.
So what I was saying this, and going back to what you were saying yes about reading, right? And I know you found Christ by actually reading your Quran. Your Quran actually going into the Quran, and you saw Christ being
exactly, yeah,
right. So we are fair thing to say then that if Muslims actually went into reading their scriptures, it will actually lead them back to the Messiah, to the original and what was there from the beginning. I think the same thing happened to you, Yasser, isn't it? You looking into what was written in Islam that actually led you to Christ. No?
Yeah, for sure. Islam believes that Christ was the Messiah and he's the word of Allah, and so does the Bible.
Right.
And the big point that we need to look at is the death, crucifixion,
Right.
death, and resurrection of Christ.
Right.
And Islam denies this, that this has happened.
Right.
So this was the difference that really got me kind of start to investigate Islam, realizing that over time I was just a Muslim by name and not a Muslim by following. And so looking into the Quran, and I still am, looking into the Hadiths, and I still am, I'm finding things which, like I alluded to before about the Satan being able to cast upon the tongue of the Prophet. These things I find very hard to believe, especially when I look at the writings of Christ in the Bible, and Christ is driving out demons from people. No demons are coming near Christ.
No,
They're
never-
actually crying out and saying, look, don't do what you're going to do to us. They realize something is up with this soul, and something is powerful with this soul. And, that's what I wanted to hear about Islam. But on research and investigating, that's not the case. And like I say, I'm putting it out there, if there are any Muslims listening, please do contact us if you have any answers or any reconcile upon this. I've certainly looked at the chronological orders of the Quran as they were originally revealed to the Prophet of Islam. The Quran that we have today, through my investigations, praise the Most High, is revealed that the verses are not in the same order as they were originally revealed. They're in a different order.
Right.
And according to the Hadiths of Islam, the angel Gabriel, for 2 years finalized these verses and the way they were to be put in the Quran as we have it today. But that's not the order that they were revealed in. Now, I tried to reconcile the whole issue of the satanic verses by looking at the earlier verses that came preceding the verse of Surah Al-Najm and Surah Al-Hajj. Okay? And trying to reconcile it in a way that if there was no verse saying to the Prophet that there should be no idolatry or no pagan goddess worshipping, then maybe the Prophet didn't know. Maybe he didn't know at this time because he was coming out of a period of ignorance and jahiliyyah. So he wasn't aware that I've got to keep it to the one God.
Right.
Okay? But looking at the surahs in the chronological order, there's verses pertaining to no idolatry, keep it to one God, Allah is one.
Right.
So the Prophet would have obviously known these verses.
Right.
And he would be aware that Allah is saying that keep my deity as one, and there is under no circumstances do you compromise this. And this is what a lot of the wars of Islam have started over, the jihad. That we're not compromising on that oneness of God.
Right.
And so, again, it's very hard to believe that the Prophet could make this error. And we have to contend with this. And the Quran states in Surah Al-Hajj that people who have a problem with this have a disease in their heart. But I'm searching for the truth, and I see that, hang on, if this book is supposed to be holy and written before anything was created,
Right.
then how can this incident have occurred
Right.
beforehand, and we've got idolatry worship in the final revelation of Allah,
That's supposed to be the perfect one.
which is supposed to be the revelation that supersedes all revelations. But yet the history is showing something different. But this is why I said to you before that Muslims, they claim their religion is the truth and they want to believe their religion is the truth. And we do what all of us do. But you've got to search the scriptures for the truth. As Christ said, search for the truth and the truth will set you free. And the
True that.
truth is very easy. Yeah, it's not burdensome. But you've got to search for it. And you've got to think with that God-given mind. We go about doing our everyday lives and aspiring for big houses and cars and this technology and that technology. But we're not looking for the scriptures, what the wisdom is, the hikmah. For people of different language who are listening. That we are being told by the Most High. And so when we look at this scripture and going back to the Quran and the Surah Al-Hajj and Surah Al-Najm, this incident is very, very strange. And it's something that we need to think deeply about.
So then we can conclude then that the conclusion of the matter is that we can discard this then. We can come out of this and actually go back to what's there with Torah, Tanakh, and the Gospels of what you call the Injil. We can go back there and we can keep it there to that and we can find the truth there.
And with that being said, let's take a quick break. You've been listening to the Rawcast, episode 3, Breaking Down Islam. If you want to get in contact with the show, email us at rawcast144@gmail.com, and we'll be right back after this.
When I spit, you will think that I'm saying something reckless, but I'm on a straight line, just like a game of Tetris. Hectic, now I got the truth, I'm not respected. Like the phone off the line, yeah, I'm disconnected to you. Now tell me what you want me to do. All my life I've been taught lies, now I'm giving you the truth. You think I'm going crazy, but this is nothing new. Yeah, many is called, but the kingdom is for a few. And I'm not gonna stop, cause I know what I gotta do. I gotta keep on going till my body is renewed. Baptized in the fire, man, I hope I make it through. And when I spread the word, I'm hoping that you get it too. And I'm trying to make it better, but I'm falling really weather. We supposed to be together when I'm done with like whatever. Took my heart like an instruction while praying for a blessing. Hoping that I be accepted in the kingdom, I'll be blessed. I touch my feet up.
Just plant your seed and let the most I give the increase.
Touch my feet up.
Just plant your seed and let the most I give the increase.
Religion is a hoax, in the Greek it means to hold down, bind and control. But when I tell my people, they don't wanna know. They'd rather hold on to the lies they've been told, paying homage to sin and then they can't let go. The deception they brought it, ignorance and pride are spirits I'm at war with, but I'll never forfeit. Who'd have ever thought it? Anyone can talk it, I just wanna walk it. I know how you feel and your pleasure saying no, but your spirit is still willing. So remember you've been given the strength to succeed. You were made in His image. Fight for your dreams. You're bright like a beam. Your shadow dwells within, so move aside and let Him shine out. Praise the higher with a loud voice, shout it out. But please believe me when I say time's running out. So draw for your sword, Proverbs 4:7, read it out.
I touch my feet up.
Just plant your seed and let the most I give the increase.
Dust my feet off.
Just plant your seed and let the most I give the increase.
Family, friends, see, I'm not the man you used to remember. I follow the word, but you don't agree. And we used to be cool, but now you just spit on me. When I speak the truth, it hurts you as if it cuts too deeply. But you rather me lie and tell you that we both are wrong completely. Like we're on the cross and not knowing it's falsely praising taboos. Speaking in tongues, no interpretation without a clue. And we ate swine, so blindly mistaking it for food. Yeah, we thought the sun was okay to worship on Sunday too. See, I'm not perfect, but at least I'm trying, and you should too. And consider the fact that religion's whack and it's not for you. See, one word, one God, one truth, and that's not hard to prove. But you better be Christian or Muslim, praising the Kaaba too. If you follow Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, you got it twisted. Ain't no sacrificing the devil's gonna make you heaven sent. Gee, and I'm wondering if you actually taking heed of this, but you just ignoring the fact that you chose to live in sin. I dust my feet off.
Just plant your seed and let the most I give the increase.
Dust my feet off.
Just plant your seed and let the most I give the increase. Raw truth. Raw truth. Raw truth.
Exclusive interview.
All right, we're back. This is the Rawcast, Raw Truth podcast. And we're going to go straight back into it. So what was it that you were saying, Sammy?
As brother has mentioned it, that the Quran and the Muslims, they always deny regarding about the crucifixion of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
So remember that there is only one surah in the Quran, or one verse in the Quran, which is Surah Al-Nisa 157, which is only one verse, 40 words, which deny regarding about the crucifixion of Jesus Christ.
Right.
But before that is like, Surah 287 and all the rest of the verses. They said the Jews were in habit of killing the prophets. And, according to the Muslims, what the point I want to make it here, according to the Muslims, Jesus is one of the pious prophet.
Right.
So if Jews were in habit of killing the prophets, how they can spare Jesus Christ, Because according to the Muslims,
They kill
all the prophets,
Right.
and they were habit of killing the prophets.
So why
why they never
kill this one?
Why they never kill the Jesus,
Good point.
And second is like, basically, I asked this question, to be very honestly, several times, 1,000 times, even in the, as to the all Muslims, those who make this verse saying that Jesus was never died on the cross, Well, we know that the earliest scriptures are all the canonical gospels, including the 14 letters of Paul, all the prophecies of the Old Testament,
Go on.
and the prophets before that, Jesus, all the pagan, Jewish, secular, historical, archaeological evidence, all the 6 illegal courts before the crucifixion, prove that at the time of Pontius Pilate, Jesus was crucified.
Yes,
we have got
we can
tons
find we can find it in secular history. Yes, 100%.
we can find it from
Yes.
the secular history. We can find it from the biblical history.
Yes.
We can find it from the archaeological evidences. We can find it from the canonical gospels. All things. These are the tons of evidences down there that
Yes.
the name Jesus person was there. He was at the specific time of the Pontius Pilate. He was there,
Exactly.
and he died on the cross. How he was died.
Yeah.
Everything is mentioned. Everything is
we
mentioned
can find
in
them.
the
We can find them in.
secular
We can find
the
them in.
sources. There is a lot of evidence.
Uh-huh.
So imagine that Quran is like 30 chapters. In that 30 chapter, it's just only one verse come all of a sudden in the Quran. No previous knowledge, no backward. After that, there is no history or knowledge after that. There is no reference before that. There is no reference afterwards that how things happen and this thing. All of a sudden, it's just come 40 words in the Quran that Jesus was not died. And he was not died on the Quran. So my biggest question to the Muslims is that, dear Muslims, please give me the historical and the archaeological and the hard evidence from your Quran and or from the Muslim sources, and please let us know that why Jesus was not died on the cross.
Yeah, that's a good question. We should. I mean, it's like whenever we do these interviews or talks, we always seem to have a lot of questions going out there with no answer. I mean, what you just asked tonight, Sammy, right? It's a new one to it, to the list of questions, and also what you've been saying as well, Yasser. And even from when we had spoken to the Imam and the question, and you have always, and let me say this on record, you have always put it out there to the listeners, to any Imam, any scholar, to actually come forward and bring something. And we have not yet to this point. I think this is the 3rd or 4th interview we're doing together, Yasser, and we still have not had any
Feedback.
You with me? And
basically, it's like we are together here. Basically, it's not to, as Brother Yasser has said, we are not against any race, religion, or anybody. We are not here to criticize anyone. We are not here to judge anyone. We are not here to change anybody's religion. All we are here is, this talk show is just only to clear the verse is called to give the right message to the people, to find the truth. And as brother has quoted it from the John 8 verse 31, that Jesus
32,
himself
yes.
said, Jesus never said that like Muhammad said himself, that if someone, in Quran it says clearly that no one is allowed to ask any questions. But praise the Lord that Jesus said, don't hesitate any questions. If you have any questions, by all means ask it, and when you find the truth will set you free.
Praise the Most High.
Yeah.
Praise the Most High. All right, and I'll tell you what, listeners, you are tuned into the Raw Truth, the AKA Rawcast, coming in live on what we call we're gonna put this on as Raw Truth on Road, right?
On the streets.
On the streets, we're with brother Sammy and brother Yasser. We're having a little discussion about Islam. You with me? And we'll be right back. Hold up. Go ahead. You gonna say something for it?
I was just going to say we're broadcasting from the highest steeple for all the people, yeah? So peace and blessings to everyone, yeah?
I like that.
And praise the Most High. We have this opportunity, and we're not out to hurt anybody. We're truly in peace and love, yeah? And we want the truth.
All right. So yes, everybody. I mean, definitely we're gonna have to do a part 2 to this, because what I'd like to have, we're gonna try and contact that Imam. You still have his contacts.
Imam Bilal, he's called.
Bilal. We need to have a discussion. We set up a scenario where we all sit down here and we do a part 2 of this discussion with him there.
I've tried to ring him, but I've
no
had
answer.
No answer.
Yeah, you ask him a
Hopefully,
question.
if he's listening, he can get back to us. That'd be great. Thanks.
We'll be glad to hear from the Imam Bilal. We are quite happy to hear from any any imam, any Muslim, or any Muslim scholar, or any Muslim person who can answer us, because we are trying to find the truth.
True.
And so that's why this is the sole reason why we are here.
All right.
Yeah, another thing I just want to add is another question I have really.
Go ahead.
Predominantly for the Muslim community. If Islam is the truth and the way, we should have peace on the earth right now.
Ooh.
And that's not the case. And the other thing is, if Islam is the truth and the way, then it should eliminate all evil, as Muslims are instructed to do. But yet what I find in the hadith, and according to a lot of Islamic doctrine, it is the Messiah, Christ, who will return and destroy the evil one.
Wow,
And
interesting.
the evil of the world.
That's interesting, isn't it?
And that's a question we need to contend with again, that why is it Christ,
And not Muhammad.
who was only a prophet for Israel, by the way, according to the Muslim doctrine, has to come back and destroy the Dajjal, which is the evil-eyed one, yeah?
Very interesting.
And, I mean, the Islamic doctrine says that he comes back as a Muslim. I must add that. But the question is, why he and not Muslim, and not the message of Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam, and the Quran, which is the wisdom, which is supposedly the word of God. Muslims need to reconcile and come back to the living word of God.
That's right.
Because that's how we all need to be, in peace and unity. And that's the most important message
That's right.
that we want to get out of this, yeah?
That's right, man. That's right. And then everybody, you are listening to the raw truth. Go ahead, Sammy.
Yeah, before we were talking regarding about the magic work on Muhammad, you
Yes.
know, and there I said I'm going to give you this hadith numbers if somebody is
Sure.
interested and he's
Go
very
ahead.
keen on it and they want to look on it. I'll give you 3 hadith numbers, and there is Bukhari volume. Is it volume 2? It's a volume 2, number 658, and it's again narrated by Aisha. A man called Labid bin al-Asam from the tribe of Bani Zarek worked magic on Allah's apostle until Allah's apostle started imagining that he had done a thing that he had not really done. So this is one source. And the second one is again from the Bukhari, number 660, narrated Aisha. Magic was worked on Allah's apostle so that he used to think that he had sexual relationships with his all wives while he actually had not done anything. He is under the effect of magic. So this is the second hadith. And the third one is 661 from the same source as Bukhari, narrated Aisha. Magic was worked on Allah's apostle so that he began to imagine that he had done something along he had not done. So basically, these are the sources which are telling us that how magic was working on it and what was the aftermath effect on Muhammad, what he was thinking, how his thinking was changed. Like his wife at the time, when this thing was happening, and Aisha was one of the married wife of Muhammad. He at that time 9 wives, so 9 wives, and he was thinking of that. That he had in one night he had sex with all of them,
And this,
and
what we're reading here in these hadiths, right?
these are the hadiths.
Would be a direct contradiction, then, so to speak, from Surah 15, where it says Lucifer said to Allah that he wouldn't be able to touch any of the chosen or the phrase it for me, please.
Yeah. It wouldn't be able to touch any of the true believers.
Exactly.
Unless they decided to go the way of Satan.
Right. So if
Think
these,
about that.
if these hadiths saying Muhammad was able to get touched by magic and so on and so on.
I want to know who's putting these hexes on the Prophet, man. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Go ahead.
I speak to some Muslims and they say, well, this was an example for the rest of the people of mankind that the black magic is possible to do on people. And so it was an example to give you that it's possible, it can happen, and you need to keep tawakkul of Allah, which is, the God, yeah? But it just doesn't make sense, it doesn't add up, especially when I said before that Christ is driving out demons from people. You know,
Exactly.
and there's exorcisms that are performed in the name of Christ. You know, if that's the case.
There was nobody putting no spell on Christ at no point, you know. That was happening. But go ahead, what are you saying?
Yeah, I was on the back of that, and you're saying that the magic working on Muhammad, and obviously demons like were the ones that was giving him, you know, the knowledge of what he brought forth in the Quran, and you said like it's meant to be Angel Gabriel that gave him the message, and apparently he ran out of the cave at first thinking it was a demon, and then he was told to go back into the cave to receive the message. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, there's several hadiths. One of the hadiths, the main ones, alludes to the angel basically pressing or squeezing the Prophet to such a degree that the Prophet felt as though he was going to pass out. Yeah? And this was done 3 times. And then he was instructed to read. And so, you know, you find that that's the case. Now, if we went to the Bible, we also find that when prophets or messengers of God came across angels or beings, they were also in fear as well. But the same time, we read in there that they were told not to fear, to you know, have peace.
But let me just make a point as well. There's no prophet anywhere in the Bible that ever had an encounter from God and thought it was the devil. Nowhere.
Yeah,
There's
or become suicidal.
Yeah, there's nowhere. So right away, that is alarm bells. If a man say, well, you know, he got a revelation and then he started to think suicidal or wonder if it's the devil. There's no prophet anywhere that ever had any encounter with the Most High and thought it was of the devil. No, it never happened. Okay?
Yeah.
That's the point I was going to make, and I'll let you carry on in a sec. It was, why is he receiving a message from a so-called angel and not from the Most High? You get me? Like the prophets in the Bible, they received the message like directly from the Most High. You get me? Like through Moses, etc. But sorry, what was you saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a hadith that alludes to that. The Waraka bin Nawfal confirms the prophethood by saying that this Gabriel is the same Gabriel that came to Moses, and you know, you're being contacted by the true one God. But yet we read that the revelations, as the brother Sami said earlier, stopped for a period when Waraka bin Nawfal died. Now, Waraka bin Nawfal was a Christian convert in the family of the Prophet.
Right.
So there was some kind of Christian influence there as well from the beginnings. Yeah.
Go on, let me hear that.
He was the uncle of the first wife of Muhammad,
Right.
named Khatija.
Khatija, she was Christian as well, wasn't she?
Khatija was a Jewish, and but Noah bin Waraka bin Nawfal, whether he was a Jew or whether he was a Christian,
Right.
but he was basically, it's like what he has to do with the revelation of God, you know. If Muhammad was getting revelation through angel Gabriel, you know, Gabriel, and he was getting it through from from the Lord, you know. If Waraka bin Nawfal died, why they been stopped, and why he was suicidal? What he has to do with it with these divine messages, you know? And one more thing which I spoke it early on, I like to add it with the reference now, because I said that at the time of Muhammad, people start changing the Quran. Even Muhammad, when he was living on the face of the earth, and remember that what we talked with before, you know, that the Quran was not compiled at that time, you know, and it was compiled at the time of first time Abu Bakr, then it was then Uthman burned all manuscripts. He got it from Hafsa, and 833 AD that Hafsa Quran was burned as well. Then afterwards the Uthman sent all these manuscripts and he said this is the authentic Quran, you know. And then after period of time, you know, then there was a Dhamma and Kasra was being put because it was before that it was, you know, Kufi text, you know. So it's basically it's like at the time of Muhammad, people start changing the Quran, you know. So there is a from the volume 6, book 61, number hadith number 523 is from the Sahih Bukhari, narrated Al-Aqma. While we were in the city of Hamas in Syria, Ibn Masud recited Surah Yusuf. A man said to him, "It was not revealed in this way." Then Ibn Masud said, "I recited it in the way before Allah's apostle, and he confirmed my recitation by saying, 'Well done.'" Ibn Masud detected the smell of wine from the man's mouth, so he said to him, aren't you ashamed of telling a lie about Allah's book, and along with this you drink alcohol, liquors too? Then he lashed him according to the law. So basically it's like the hadith is saying that at the time of Muhammad, even Muhammad was on the face of the earth, he was not died at that time, people has been start changing the words of the Quran, and they've been adding or subtracting or whatever they were trying to do it. They were changing the Quran,
One of the things that we found, and I remember I was going through this with you, Yasser, is we went onto the Al Islam website, and I sent you the link with that. Sahih Muslim.
Yeah.
Going into Hadith number 525, Sahih Muslim, and that's actually on the Saudi Arabian website. You understand, man? I got that reference from Christian Prince. You with me? That's who I got that from. I never like came up with it by myself. I got it from, he did the teaching on it.
He goes deep, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Christian
it does.
Prince.
It does. And if you've not seen him, anybody there, go and find Christian. Check him out. He goes in. He speaks Arabic, and I got that from him. And it speaks about intercourse with the dead, intercourse with children, pedophilia. It goes into some really disgusting stuff. And then at the end of it, it tells you about washing. And every Muslim I speak to about this, right? Every Muslim will ignore the fact of what we've just read and just say, well, it's telling you about washing and you should wash. As if,
the acts are okay themselves.
Exactly. So,
but it's the ablution that's more important.
So why do you think, and we're gonna, we're coming to that part, we're gonna have to wrap it up very soon. Why you think that this is so? That, is it that pedophilia and necrophilia and all are these things done in the Quran? Sammy, so have you come across this pedophilia, necrophilia, bestiality? Are these things condoned within the Quran?
Basically, it's like it's not anywhere condemned it. It's the Quran never condemned it. We never find any source or saying that these things has been condemned it. But basically, it's like pedophilia.
Yes.
It's did you find any imam saying that pedophilia is wrong?
No, I've never found. Nobody condemned.
Even I never find it.
Even no.
Did you? Yes, sir.
I think it's one of the surahs in the Quran, Surah Al-Talaq. Forgive me if I've misquoted the reference there. But that talks about the waiting period that people have with regards to menses that women have.
Right.
And who can be married.
Right.
And that alludes, if you look into it, to where you can be married, you can have a marriage at a young age.
Right.
So
it's actually
you can confirm the marriage that way.
Right.
Consummation wise, that's a different topic.
Right.
And we would need to ask somebody who's more learned in that respect.
Why I brought this bit up is because I always bring this up with most discussions I have with Muslims to get an understanding on it. And I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but I think there's a surah within the Quran that tells you that Muhammad went down into the grave to go lay down with somebody in the grave. Go on, went into the grave to do what?
Yeah, it was basically it was his auntie. She died and he lay down with her.
He went into the grave.
The grave, and people ask, what are you doing? And he said, huh? Yeah, it's basically nowadays we can call it necrophilia.
Yes.
And he said, well, I'm trying to ease off the burden of his hell thingy, because in the hell she will be tormented because of her sins, so I'm laying down with her just to ease off that burden,
Madness.
So basically it's like he did these type of things,
and that's why I actually brought. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I knew you brought us some more.
So basically on this verse is called the pedophilia. I mean, none of the the imams or anyways Muslim scholar, first thing is they don't like the
conversation,
these type of conversation, and second is like and then there is another one is saying, when I was a boy of 5, I remember the Prophet took water from a bucket with his mouth and threw it on my face, So basically it's again from the Sahih Bukhari volume 1, book number 3, number 77 hadith, and is narrated by the Muhammad bin Rabi'ah, and he said about When I was a boy of 5, I remember the Prophet took water from a bucket with his mouth and threw it on me. It's basically like you fill your mouth with the water and just do it like that. So it's how awful it is. I really can't.
Yeah. But
It's basically it's like mouthful of water.
Yeah, we get it. You with me? We get it. No, we don't put no more pictures out there, all right? I know we in the raw truth, but boy, I think we do here at the raw truth have a limit. You with me? But
I'm back to my same question again. How was the Prophet of Islam possessed by Satan? And the black magic that was done on him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you read in for people who want the truth, you need to read the literature. You read in the literature and the sources, the Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim. The Prophet was asked about the Qareen, and these are jinns that are with every man. The Prophet of Islam said that every Muslim has a jinn with him.
right,
And the companions asked the Prophet, even you, Prophet? And the Prophet said, yes, but Allah has made my jinn a Muslim and he only tells me good things to do. Okay? Now, if that's the case...
How did he get possessed?
Well, how did he get possessed? You read in the literature that the Prophet of Islam he had some kind of medical procedure done to him where he was cut, his whole body was cut in two. From the sternum up to the navel,
Right.
and his heart was opened and taken out. The first incident occurs while he was a child,
Right.
and the angels apparently washed his heart out with snow and took out the clump of what Satan had put in his heart. So the Prophet was purified from a young age. And then in the literature again, we read that at a later date, the companions asked, Prophet, how did you know that you was a prophet? And the Prophet says that 2 angels came to me whilst I was in Mecca and performed surgery on me. I think Brother Sami's confirmed this, yeah? And cleansed him again and filled him with wisdom. Okay? A full dish of wisdom was brought and emptied into the Prophet, in terms of cleansing his spirit.
Right.
Making him pure and holy. And the other thing is in Islam, before you read the prayers, the Muslims have something called Azwatain, which is Auz Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, which is I with Allah, you're asking Allah that I seek protection in Allah from the evil one, from the devil,
Right.
so that the devil can't get to me. Okay?
Right.
And obviously, no doubt, 100%, the Prophet of Islam would have read this when he's reading his prayer, because he was setting the example for all Muslims. So if he's read this, he's got the protection of the twice cleansing of the soul, the cleanliness, the holiness. And, the Quran is saying that the true followers of Allah, Iblis is saying, Satan is saying, that the true followers of Allah cannot be affected by me because they're pious and they know what your message is. And Allah is confirming this, and Allah is also then saying that unless they decide to follow you, well, how did this black magic and this thing happen? I mean, back to that question again.
That's some
man.
good questions. So let me ask you, brothers, this: would you brothers be able to find maybe an imam or a scholar that we could actually sit down and have a talk with, or just could you?
I'm putting it out live on this broadcast that hopefully, God willing, there are some imams or scholars.
Yeah.
Because, like I said before, we need to speak to scholars
Definitely.
who are learned, not the
run-of-the-mill.
usual Muslim that we see.
100%.
With all respect to everyone, because we need answers. We don't
100%.
We don't need politician answers where they pussyfoot around.
Yeah.
We need the raw truth.
That's what.
And why it's happened and how it's happening and how we resolve this issue. Otherwise, it's back to square one. People, like I said, the Muslims claim the Quran is the word of God, but we need to come back to the true living word of God.
100%.
And that's teaching is somewhere else. That's in the Bible.
100%. Praise the Most High.
So praise the Most High, yeah.
So you asked me regarding about the question about the pedophilia,
Yes.
And from the sources is again from the Yunus, and it's page number 79, it says that I recorded that the apostle saw her Umme Afade when she was a baby crawling before him and said, if she grows
Hold up. He had her when she was a baby.
Yeah.
Am I right? Did you read that correctly?
Yeah.
Go on.
When she was a baby, crawling before him and said, actually, Muhammad was sitting with his with the child's mother,
Right.
and the baby was crawling
Right.
before him, and he said, if she grows up and I'm still alive, I will marry her.
Oh.
But unfortunately, he died before she grew up.
Unfortunately. Fortunately.
Yeah.
Fortunately for her, he died. You with me? He sick.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he died.
Oh,
He
come
died
on.
before she grew up.
Well,
And this is from the life of Muhammad, a translation of Ishaq, Sirat Rasulullah, translation by Gulaliam, Oxford University. Sorry? Alfred Gulam, yeah, A. Gulaliam. Oxford University Press, Karachi, page number 311.
Wow. All right, man. Everybody, you can hear the references there as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, this show, people gonna probably go back and listen to this show and pause it and write the references down
Yeah.
and go into it. But
And there is another one is basically about same is again the same incident, but it's a different saying that the daughter of Abbas, while she was age of nursing, and he said, if she grew up while I'm still alive, I will marry her. So basically, it's a different hadith. So there is a
same
the confirmation of
because
these-
Muslims say that here, that if you find one, you can't read an hadith in isolation, right?
Yeah.
So if you can find two hadith that pretty much saying the same thing, then that confirms it, correct?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, come on. So, boy, you know what? We're definitely gonna have to do a part 2 to this show. You understand me? We're definitely gonna have to come up and do a part and another segment of this recording. All right. And what is it? I mean, there's so much here. But going back to what I said before, would you brothers be able to find a scholar outside of what we're gonna get from the broadcasting going out? But would you be able to find a imam or someone who would be willing to come and sit down on a platform like this?
Yeah, to be honestly, it's like when we talk with the Muslims,
Right.
it's not very easy to talk with them. Second is like finding an imam who can sit with us
Right.
and answer this. I don't think that someone will turn up,
Okay.
and it's not a promising thing,
Right.
But I give it to the brother Yasser. Might be he'll be able to find someone.
Well, this is why I say that you need to search for yourself as well.
Uh-huh.
And there's many reference sources that you can look at nowadays through the internet. One website that people could try is searchtruth.com.
Right.
That's an Islamic website. And you can read the translations of the Quran. You can read the tafsirs, which is the commentaries on the Quran,
Right.
on that particular website. And you've got access to the hadiths as well.
Right.
And the various books of the hadiths, the Sahih Bukhari
Right.
books.
So people
the
can
Sahih
just go
Muslim.
and people can go and get these information for themselves anyway.
Yeah, you can
And-
verify
and
what
themselves.
we're saying, and forgive us if we've got anything wrong. But we come with sincerity and what we can recollect at the moment in time.
Okay. All right. Well, brothers, it's been a pleasure here having you here on the Rawcast. We're coming to that point of the show right now where we're gonna have to save it. We're gonna have to do this again. You with me? So it's a pleasure having you on, Sammy and Yasser. Always
Thank
a
you.
pleasure to have
It's a
you
pleasure.
here to come and discuss some of these things. Right? Maybe we're gonna have to do a live broadcast where we get the phone lines up and people can actually call in and speak with you directly. Because we also do the blog talk, as you know, Yasser. We might have to bring it over there. And
Yeah, I mean, in the past we have done this. It's like the lines are open and people texting, phoning.
yes.
Asking all these type of questions.
Yes.
In future, if we are more than willing to do this, so we can do live broadcast and people can ask a direct question. So
Yes.
by the grace of God, we are looking forward to do that.
Yeah, man. Praise the Most High. And you actually,
praise the Most High.
yes. I mean, Sammy, you actually go out and daily in the streets and give leaflets out, right? Is there any way anybody can? You have a website or anything anybody can look at? No.
Well, it's a website. Is basically we don't have any website,
Right.
but it's basically if somebody wants to get in touch with it, it's a CS_UO@hotmail.com.
Okay.
It's a CS is all in small case. It's an email address cs_uo@hotmail.com. We are there all the time. People are asking questions. Most of the people, as you said, we are giving the tracks into the city centers and everywhere.
Yes.
So people normally get in touch with us, and always they come back and ask different and various questions regarding about our faith and their faith.
Mm-hmm.
And we are more than happy to accommodate them. We answer them back, and if it's required, we come out, we see them, and on a regular basis,
Okay.
So basically it's like if somebody wants to get in touch with us on cs_uo@hotmail.com, by all means you can do that.
Mhm.
And don't hesitate if you have any questions, if you have anything to ask, or if you want to any like tonight's material, if somebody wants what we have ever discussed from the beginning till the end, what we have discussed regarding about the ahadith, regarding about the sources from the Quran. If somebody wants to verify it and they want to know it more about it, give us an email, and we are happy to send you these sources back.
Okay. All right. So, like I said, once again, brothers, thanks for coming for this broadcast.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
And what I'm gonna do for this one, normally the next segment we go into the music review. We're not gonna do the music review for this particular show. Why? Because I want everybody to come and listen to the information and not be distracted by anything that was brought forth tonight. All right. So it's gonna be a special broadcast, raw truth in the streets. All right, and saying Tawada, which is thank you. All right.
Tawada.
And shalom to everyone listening. May the Most High keep and protect you until we speak again. All right. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom and thanks very much. Good night.
Yeah. Let's get it. Let's get it. Zion. I'm coming home to Messiah's throne, the Father, Son, their kingdom come, their will be done. Zion. Mount of truth for the line of Judah and Israel, he's married to her. Zion. I'm coming home to Messiah's throne, the Father, Son, their kingdom come, their will be done. Zion. Mount of truth for the line of Judah and Israel, he's married to her. I'm living a lot less for self, the stress of this world I got less. Let's see him, tell him God bless, wish him the best. Hit them with some truth if they choose to listen. The word is free for those who can't afford to pay attention. Dirty world, dust my feet and keep it pushing. Seek truth and keep on looking. The evil's jokes and the proof is in the pudding. No need to bite into it, spill it on the table. Use your sword and slice right through it, cause that's how Christ would do it. Spawn till your strike is fluid, knowledge moving, truth and fluid, righteous oozing. The life will add its light into it. Brain stem, deep rooted, right inducing. Musical mind seducing, until his world is vibing to it. Many call, few chosen, so a lot opposing. More falling, less holding. Cornerstone, you save your soul in. The way is the light of life. Open eyes won't be surprised. Closed minds, they lie with the devil in disguise. Zion. I'm coming home to Messiah's throne, the Father, Son, their kingdom come, their will be done. Zion. Mount of truth for the line of Judah and Israel, he's married to her. Zion. I'm coming home to Messiah's throne, the Father, Son, their kingdom come, their will be done. Zion. Mount of truth for the line of Judah and Israel, he's married to her. The world's colder, ice block of boulders on your shoulders, driving to death, and I'm the chauffeur until it's over. But I'm taking no directions, lessons sent from heaven with blessings. I conquer every weapon of the devil's henchmen. So I'm aiming high on Zion, Lord bites me like a python. Take my own cross like the one the Messiah died on. Focus, saving souls is my motive, until the hope is my control. If this rotten hole is busted open, thought provoking, eye opening, truth so potent, you feel it in your bones, and it make you wanna save your soul then. Take you to the ocean, put you in the water, crucify the flesh and start to put your spirit in order to see the border of the heavenly gates. Choose where you lay, no fake, just fate. Now it's yours to take, put it in your face. Next move you make, is it your last today? If so, where will you go when your soul pass away? I'm coming home to Messiah's throne, the Father, Son, their kingdom come, their will be done. Mount of truth for the line of Judah and Israel, he's married to her. I'm coming home to Messiah's throne, the Father, Son, their kingdom come, their will be done. Mount of truth for the line of Judah and Israel, he's married to her. Reverse the curse, Jacob got it the worst. Put on slave ships and spread across four corners of the earth. It's time to rise and leave the streets. Free your mind from slavery, the ghetto mentality, imprisoning your state of being. We kings and queens, chosen seed, not human beings. Far above Porsche, monkeys, divas and G's. Diffuse the self-destruct, it's up to us. Change its gradual steps until you press that button. For life is really nothing. No kind of man to understand. We'll all be damned if we were sent a blemished land to free from sin. So in him is righteousness. But I don't get no self-respect. Later bet you regret. Matter of fact, I know it always better than that. Your spirit's loose on evil juice. Your mind is going on something wrong. So much weed and mollies. You're living drugs and life's a hobby. So wake up from your sleep. The end times are on the creep. Zion is alarming. Messiah is coming with his army. Zion. I'm coming home to Messiah's throne. The Father, Son, their kingdom come, their will be done. Zion. Mount of truth for the Lion of Judah and Israel. He's married to her. Zion. I'm coming home to Messiah's throne. The Father, Son, their kingdom come, their will be done. Zion. Mount of truth for the Lion of Judah and Israel. He's married to her.
There's nowhere else to turn. There's nothing you can do. It's just the raw truth. Teaching us our Bible and our history like we never knew. Raw truth. Showing us the lies and all the snares of Babylon pulled. Raw truth. It is nothing but the raw truth.
Raw truth. Raw truth. Raw truth. Raw truth. Raw truth. Raw truth.